Well, thank you, Jessica, for talking to our Chemistry 108 course about your career post-graduation at USM as a chemistry major. So just real quick before we get into the actual questions, could you tell the students kind of what time frame you were a student here and a Golden Eagle?
Yes. So I was an undergraduate at Southern Miss from 2005 to 2009.
Okay, great. And then you went and studied at Vanderbilt for a while, right? And got your master's degree, and you're now in the private sector. So we'll jump into the questions. So could you tell the students why you decided to pick chemistry as your major when you came to college?
Sure. So, and this always baffles people, but I really didn't like science as a kid, which I know sounds nuts because I love science now, but all the science I was exposed to was very much more the biology side of science and the more the memorization side, which just wasn't as fun to me. So when I got into 10th grade, I took chemistry and with a lovely man who's still 95 and fishing happily on a lake somewhere right now. But he taught me my first chemistry course, and that's where I fell in love with science. I loved chemistry because it was a puzzle. It wasn't just memorization or facts or figures. It was, this is how the world works. This is how, when you put these pieces together, something happens, something changes. This is what moves the world. So I chose chemistry as my major because I liked puzzles and I liked science and I liked knowing the way the world worked.
All right, fantastic. So when did you get started and get involved in undergraduate research as a student?
Well, so for background, my high school had no lab facilities. So I came into Southern Miss with no practical lab experience. And my advisor recommended, hey, you should consider not only with lab, but doing research. And I went, okay, so who's going to take a chance on a freshman with no lab experience? And then I met you, who was willing to take a chance on a freshman with no lab experience. So I started my freshman year doing lab work with you, and I worked for you the summer after freshman year. And then I proceeded to do lab work with you the rest of the time I was there. And I can honestly say that was a very rewarding experience that I don't think everyone gets in their undergraduate. I always thought Southern Miss was very special in that way because there are so many programs that really won't let you do the research part until you're juniors and seniors. And I love that I got to kind of stick my feet in it when I was completely just no skill, nothing. I got to start from there and really get that exposure. So I always thought that was just great about Southern Miss.
Fantastic. I do want to ask you a follow-up question to that one because you did spend, if I recall correctly, 2 summers doing research at other institutions
Yes.
as REU kind of experiences. And Southern Miss now has a very prominent program called Pathways, where we're encouraging students to go off and do internships and summer REU programs. Could you tell the students a little bit about your experience going abroad, if you will, to other states and other universities to do research for a summer?
Yeah, sure. So the first time was my summer after my sophomore year, and I actually went up to North Dakota State University and did research with Dr. Makun-Sibi. And that was a really great experience because you get this exposure to the way different labs are run and different works and different aspects. So projects are always very application driven. So you learn the skills you need to do that project. So what I really enjoyed about going off and doing these internships were it was a whole new project and a whole new set of skills I got to learn in my area. Plus, I got to learn how cold it was in North Dakota in the middle of the summer, which was always hilarious. I'm walking around in a coat and a scarf, and everyone else is walking around in shorts on jogs, and I'm going, what's wrong with you? But no, it was a really great experience. The summer after that, I did an internship at Urbana-Champaign, and that with Dr. Scott Denmark, and it was also a really, really fun experience. And again, another path of chemistry. So what I really like about that kind of program is that not only do you get exposed to all these different avenues, you get exposed to opportunities too. You see a side of chemistry and something you can do with it that you don't necessarily get to see if you stay in one place. You get to see all the different things you can do with it, the different ways you can use your degree, and the different ways you can apply it. So I love that you guys have a program for this now. So that's amazing.
Yeah, and that's a university-wide program called Pathways Out of Career Services. It's part of our quality enhancement plan, and so we're really encouraging students to do that. And you were doing that before it was in fashion, so to speak, I guess.
I was doing it before it was cool.
That's right. You certainly were. So could you tell us a little bit about how the undergraduate program here prepared you for your current career?
Yes. So I guess I can start with what I do now. So what I do now is I work in the segment of the paper industry, working on developing new chemistries and new formulations. So what that basically means is that everything that goes into making that copy paper you have, or those boxes that Amazon delivers to your door, we provide the chemistry that lets them use more recycled fibers or less fiber, or make them basically more cost effective. So can we make the paper stronger? Can we make it more resistant to water? Can I make it so that this doesn't happen too easily, right? So that's what I typically do now, is I spend a lot of time working on developing chemistries that go onto paper machines to make that process more efficient.
Okay.
So that being said, I feel like my undergraduate education prepared me a lot for this, because the first thing I did with you as an undergrad actually was worked on mechanistic studies of why things work and what's actually making things work. And a big function of what I do now is doing designs of experiments, learning what's going to make things move, what's going to move the needle in the chemistry that I'm doing. So the basis of everything I do now is determining the mechanism of what works. So the fact that I got my start in that as an undergrad, to me, has served me incredibly well. But yeah, so to me, yeah, the basis is always in research. The more research exposure, the more you're prepared. So I feel like I was very prepared for my undergrad to both do my master's, because I kind of came in with a little bit of an edge over people who hadn't gotten to do research as an undergrad, and then into my career now, because the things I learned then are still the same tools I'm using now.
Okay, fantastic. Well, you kind of touched on your current job as well, which is what I was going to ask you a question for. So I think we'll just skip over that. Maybe end by asking you do you have a piece of advice you might want to leave new incoming freshmen this fall, what they might want to be thinking about moving forward?
Don't be afraid to ask for opportunities. Even if you don't think, and I know it sounds cliche, but even if you don't think, oh, I don't have the experience for this, or I'm not prepared for this, or I'll never get in, apply for summer programs. Most of the times you'll get the ones you don't think you will. Go talk to your chemistry professor and see if someone in the department is doing research and will let you start early. The earlier, the better. So even if you don't think you're prepared for it or ready for it, dive in anyway. Don't be afraid to ask for opportunities if you want them, because it's going to be what you make of it.
Well, fantastic. Well, again, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to our Chemistry 108 students, and it was very insightful, and I hope we can keep in touch moving forward.
No, it was great. It was great to see you, and I love talking to students whenever I can. So let me know if I've ever anything I can do to help.
Thank you.